All right, guys, today we are going to do the equilibrium Le Chatelier's lab. So we're going to be stressing our equilibrium system. The first thing we need to do is look at cobalt hexahydrate. So this is the way cobalt hexahydrate looks in its solid form. We're going to create an equilibrium system. So the first thing, in order to create the equilibrium system, we're going to add the cobalt hexahydrate to some ethanol. So I have about 30 mils of ethanol. I'm going to add just a little bit of cobalt hexahydrate. That's probably enough. Give it a good stir. Let it get dissolved in there. It's not dissolving too well. Okay, it's getting there. Takes just a little bit to dissolve. Oh, I got a little bit happy with my stirring. You can actually see as it dissolves the blue around the actual crystals. Gotta let that all dissolve. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so you can kind of see the color of the solution. This kind of pinkish, purpley color. Might be easier to see against a white background, so I'll just put a paper towel down. Let you really kind of see the way that it looks. Okay. Now remember, this is being dissolved in ethanol, not water, ethanol. So it's getting a little bit more purple the more dissolved. You can again see that blue around the crystals as they dissolve. Let's just get them all dissolved here. Almost. Getting a little bit more purple, less pink. Just getting there. Takes just a minute. All right, I think we've got pretty much everything that we need. See here we have this nice kind of purple color. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to divide this amongst the 5 test tubes. We're going to leave a little bit here in the container or in the beaker. Okay, again, this is qualitative, so the exact amount isn't super critical. We just want them to be all about the same. And we want to leave a little bit in the beaker. All right, this one needs a little bit more. And the first one needs a little bit more. Okay, that's pretty close to being the same. So then we leave the rest in the beaker. Okay, now we're going to observe that. We're actually going to heat treat the beaker, but we're going to set it to the side for right now. So to one of the test tubes, I'm going to add some distilled water. So remember, it is already in ethanol, which is ethyl alcohol. Okay, so I'm going to add some water to this test tube. 1 drop at a time. Okay, we're going to add a total of 5 drops. I'm going to switch my hand so that you can really see it. All right, so here we go. Whoops, sorry. 1, 2, okay, looking a little bit pinker. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now compare this to our original. So this is after we've added some water to it. So this is our cobalt hexahydrate equilibrium system. So the cobalt hexahydrate ion, which has a +2 charge, is the pink color. Chloride ion is colorless. When the chloride replaces the water and makes the cobalt tetrachloride complex ion, that's the blue color. Okay, so we're going to be shifting this back and forth between the pink and the blue. Okay, so now that we've seen that, okay, we are going to do that for the other 4 test tubes. This is our equilibrium system. So let's just get the water in all of the test tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is our equilibrium system between the cobalt hexahydrate and the cobalt, the COCl4 complex ion. So all kind of a pink color. Put it on the white so that you can see it a little bit better. Let's move this over some. Okay, so this is going to be our control. We're going to set that to the side so we can compare things to our control. All right, now we're going to add some concentrated hydrochloric acid. So this is going to add the chloride ion. Okay, and we're going to add 5 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, you can really see it's going back to that purpley color. Don't think I got one of those to be quite as good as it could have been. I think one of them was a little bit more bubbles than anything. Let's add just a little bit more. Okay, so clearly not pink. Let's compare it to the control. Okay, clearly not pink. All right, more of a light purple, not quite the real purple that we started with, but definitely not pink. So think about which way it shifted to when we added the concentrated hydrochloric acid. What ion in the equilibrium system did we add? Which way did it shift? And the color should reinforce that direction of shift. All right, now what we're going to do for the second test tube is we're actually going to add some solid calcium chloride. Calcium chloride is just some white pellets. Okay, and we're going to add a few of the pellets. It's not wanting to stay. Again, this is qualitative, so the quantity, not super important. Look at the bubbles already. So you're getting lots of bubbles, and look at the color around the white solid that we added. Okay? So as that reacts, now remember, solids take a little while because of their lack of surface area to react. So I'm actually going to set this aside, and we're going to come back to it because it needs a little bit of time. All right, in the third test tube, we're going to add some acetone. And we're going to add 3 to 4 drops of acetone. Now the acetone, think about it, it's not in the reaction itself. So what is it going to do? Is it going to add a reactant or product, or is it going to remove a reactant or product? So 1, 2, 3, 4. That wasn't hardly enough. Let's put a little bit more in. There we go. Okay, so now you can see the change in color. Definitely a more blue color. Okay, so think about which way it shifted. This is your control. This is after we added the acetone. All right, so let's just recap what we've done so far. This is our control that has the ethanol and the water in the equilibrium system. This was after we added concentrated hydrochloric acid. This is the calcium chloride precipitate. Look at the blue accumulating down where the solid is. And as we shake that up and disperse that, the pink is getting fainter and fainter. We'll come back to this one again. We're just going to keep letting it go. And then, of course, this is after we added the acetone. All right. Now, in the last one, we are going to add silver nitrate. Now, again, think about what silver nitrate is going to do. It's not one of the reactants. It's not one of the products. So think critically about what the silver nitrate is going to do. And I think I'm going to have to do a few more drops than it says because of how much cobalt chloride we started with. So here we go, original pink color. Just add some. Now, still kind of pink. But what is that white stuff? Okay, so think about your solubility rules and consider what got formed. We'll let that one sit for just a second. And again, we'll come back to it and recap at the end. All right. So we have our control with the concentrated hydrochloric acid, with the calcium chloride added. We just keep shaking it. You can really see it's getting a lot more purpley blue now. Definitely can see that. Still reacting. With the acetone. And then with the silver nitrate. And you can kind of see on the sides there some residue being deposited. And we'll come back to this one when we're all said and done. Now I'm going to add my control back to my beaker that has the original. Okay. And I'm going to now add enough water to try and get between the blue and the pink colors that we've been seeing. So I want kind of a purpley. Just a little bit of water. I made it more pink. All right, I'm gonna actually add just a little bit more ethanol, get it to that purple color. The acetone might work a little bit better. Let's get it to that pretty purple color. Still not there. That's getting closer. That's pretty good. Okay, so partway between the pink and the blue, kind of this purpley color. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put it on the hot plate. I've got a hot plate going. I've also got an ice water bath. So we're gonna let it warm up for just a little bit. I'm gonna move these a little bit closer so that you can notice. So as this is warming up, we're not gonna let it warm up too much, but you can see as it's warming up, it's actually going more blue. And it's going really, really fast. So I'm not gonna actually let it go any further. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off before it's too hot. Okay, and you can really see that blue color. Okay, so it went from that purple to more of a blue color. Now we're gonna take that blue, give it just a second, there we go. So we're at this blue color. Okay, it's cooled enough to the touch, so I won't break the glass. I'm gonna put it in the ice bath now. And we will see, give it just a little bit. We'll see how that shifts the colors. While we're waiting on that, let's just take another look at our calcium chloride one. Still reacting, still getting more and more of that nice blue color. Definitely blue now. And our silver nitrate, you know, think about this. All the other test tubes are clear. They're not colorless, but they're clear. This one's more opaque. And that's because it's got a precipitate in it. Think about what precipitate formed when we added the silver nitrate. And I'll give you a hint, it's going to have to do with the ions involved in the equilibrium. Okay, now that this is set for a little bit, the ice turned it back to pink, not just to the purple, all the way to the pink. So think about whether this gives us an endothermic or an exothermic reaction. Based on the way that the equilibrium shifted, you can determine if this is an endothermic or exothermic reaction. So now that you've got all of your data, you can complete your analysis for your Le Chatelier's lab.